all of a sudden the 49ers aren't the only team in the NFC with some serious injury issues. Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Walsh's Playbook. That's former Raiders offensive coordinator Tom Walsh. I'm Grant Cohn. He's on assignment away from home in an apartment with some internet that's going in and out, but he should be okay. We're going to be talking about how the Micah Parsons injury and some other injuries have sort of leveled the playing field in the NFC, how Robert Salah might be the number one coaching candidate out there and what that might mean for the 49ers, where he might go, the end of the Aiyuk drama supposedly, and then we'll help Kyle Shanahan and Robert Salah game plan. As always, our show is brought to you by Fabletics. Fabletics already has amazing deals, but right now they're running their biggest sale of the year on top of that. And I've got an exclusive offer for you, 80% off everything when you sign up as a VIP. Head to fabletics.com/COHN and sign up as a VIP to get 80% off everything. This is only available through my link. So go to fabletics.com/COHN to sign up as a VIP and get 80% off. That's fabletics.com/COHN. We're also brought to you by 1-800-CONTACTS. If you hate running out of contacts or having to make an eye doctor appointment every time you're running low, 1-800-CONTACTS is the best solution. They'll save you time and money. Getting contacts doesn't have to be a hassle. Let 1-800-CONTACTS get the contact lenses you need right now. Order online at 1-800-CONTACTS.com or download the free 1-800-CONTACTS app today. Okay, thank you very much. Tom, the Niners, we kind of counted them out early on in the season because Nick Bosa got hurt, Fred Warner got hurt. It's a really long season. And now Micah Parsons is down and other teams are facing attrition. How many teams would you say are truly better than the Niners in the NFC right now?
You know, at this point, I would say it's an even field between Seattle, the Rams, and the Niners. And, you know, tonight's ball game, if Seattle happens to beat the Rams, all the Niners need to do is to go out and win out the rest of the games, and they're the number one seed in the playoffs and have a bye week for the NFC. So it's all sitting in their laps.
You wouldn't think that the Rams, I mean, the last time the Rams faced the Niners, the Rams beat them pretty well, but the Niners did beat them with Mac Jones and a bunch of backups.
Well, by the same token, now you look at the Rams, their injury situation as well with Adams, and you know he may miss more than the typical hamstring. It could go on for 2-3 weeks, could be a month, who knows? So I think that the Niners have to be optimistic. You know, all they got to do is win. Think about nothing else, just win. Just do your job, win your games, win out, and at worst they might be number 2. Right, if the Rams win tonight and they have the edge on the Niners, then the Niners can beat Seattle. If they win out, then they're ahead of Seattle.
Yeah, it's not
if
like
Seattle wins
that much
and the Niners win out.
Sorry.
Well, look at so far. This has won games which you thought they might not win, and they've lost games which you thought they should. So you know, it's. The parity is to a point now where on any given, who knows what's going to happen.
What about a team like Philadelphia, the reigning Super Bowl champs, that coming off a big win over the Raiders, but before then it looked like they were falling apart for a full month? What do you think of them?
You know, they still have some injuries with which they're dealing as well. And, you know, I am not a big fan of their offense. You know, Saquon Barkley's not having a great year running the ball, and their passing game just does not excite me a lick. I mean, that's pure torture watching them throw the ball. Their passing tree for the wide receivers is so small, it's like, you know, it doesn't even fit, you know, it's a thumbnail of a passing game. Yeah. Very limited.
What about the Bears?
You know, they got a ball game coming up Saturday night at Soldier Field against Green Bay, and that's going to tell a big story because then, of course, the Niners got in a couple of weeks. So hey, they got a chance to be in the playoffs if they win. If they don't, hey, they go home. But the Niners can help them pack their bags early if they want by winning the ball game.
What do you think of Green Bay without Micah Parsons?
Hadley does a great job as a defensive coordinator. They were playing well before they got Micah Parsons. Now their defense has popped up a bit. They've got some injuries on offense. They've lost a fabulous tight end for the year with a knee injury as well. And, Green Bay is another one of those teams where you put them in a game where you think they should win, they should compete well. All of a sudden, they go out and they lay an egg. So, it's just this league is such an up and down league this year. I don't think anyone can you can't put your thumb on it and say this is a guaranteed win. We're going to do this. You show up on Sunday and all the player goes down. You got weather conditions, and pretty soon you're looking at the wrong side of the scoreboard.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's really scared of Matt LaFleur in the playoffs. The Bears are interesting. They're a bit of a wild card with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. It seems like they're improving as the season goes along. And I was just watching the Seahawks and the Colts.
They're missing.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the Bears also now their passing game is not that great. Their run game is good, obviously, but and they're missing one of the wide receivers will be out on Saturday night. So they're not rolling on all cylinders also.
So the Rams seem like, they're the number one seed for now, but you said that they're in a tier with the Niners and the Seahawks. What do you see from the Seahawks? How good are they?
Despite Sam Darnold's up and down performances, their defense is pretty decent, obviously. And when Darnold's on and people can't get to him, they can't rush him, they can't harry him, and they can't, breathe closely in his face and kind of make him spit the ball out. They're good. But when he's bad, he is really bad. And that's the one thing about which you have a concern about your quarterback. How bad is he when he's bad? And when Darnold is bad, he is brutally bad. And he throws 3 or 4 picks. And, you're not going to be able to win in the playoffs when you got a quarterback throwing 4 or 5 picks.
Yeah. Brock Purdy does that sometimes too, but to his credit, he hasn't thrown a pick in the last 2 games. That's big. Okay. Let's talk Robert Salah. He's doing a really good job. Yeah, really. Robert Saleh's doing a really good job without Michael Williams, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. He's been a head coach, but the Jets are a joke. And now it seems like all of a sudden, he's one of the top candidates once again. If it's not him, it'll be like Matt Nagy or Cliff Kingsbury. Saleh seems like his stock is up. Do you think the Raiders would be interested? Is this a Tom Brady target? Or what do you think his options will be?
Okay, here's the problem with Salah and the Raiders. They want to hire him. However, Brady wants to name his own offensive coordinator, which means Salah may not even know the guy well enough as a football coach or even as a person. But once again, then they want to run the offense from inside the organization, but Salah's the head coach. And that's not going to be a marriage that bodes well for Salah. That's headed for divorce before you sign the paper.
Isn't this the arrangement that Tom Brady already put together between Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll?
Yeah, it's what's the old joke about wash, rinse, and repeat? Brady wants to have control, but the guy is AWOL. He's out broadcasting. He's got some boat corporation that he is in boat racing. He's got TB12. He's doing commercials. He's all over the place. If you're going to be a owner who's going to even a part owner, but you got full control of the football ops from Mark, you got to be in the building. I'm sorry, you cannot be an absentee owner in football.
So Brady essentially is like the president of football operations. He's like above the general manager, and he's meddling.
Well, he hired the general manager. Spytek played on the Michigan football team with Brady when they were at Michigan, so that's his guy. So even now, the problem is though, everything still has to run through Brady. So they're in the office and they're talking about, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then the last word that's a crucial one is, well, what's Tom going to say? Meaning Tom Brady. So they've arrived at a conclusion in the office, but then they still got to run it by Brady via a phone call or FaceTiming or some video conference, because they've got to have his rubber stamp to approve it.
So you're telling me that Mark Davis essentially handed over the franchise to a guy whose attention is on it only some of the time?
From a football operations perspective, the football part of it, yes.
That's bleak. And you wonder why they're so bad. I don't think Robert Salah should take that job.
Well, as much as he may want to be a head coach again, he's doing San Francisco. He needs to pick a better environment. He'll have better choices rather than leaping to Las Vegas, because it won't be a happy marriage, and it's going to take a couple of years to get it fixed. If they draft a quarterback right now, they're number 2 in the draft. If they select a quarterback who's not really a true franchise quarterback, the surrounding cast still would not be able to support this rookie quarterback that you're going to put out on the field. And he went through that in New York. He had some kid named Zach Wilson, who was the second pick in the draft, I believe, a few years back. And that was a total disaster. He went through 5 or 6 quarterbacks. That's a repeat of the same thing he experienced with the Jets. So why would he want to do it again in Vegas and expect a different outcome?
What do you think of Francisco Mendoza?
There are things about him which I find admirable. Obviously, he's a very competitive, aggressive player. Well, he's got a decent enough arm, not a great arm. His eyes wander a little bit. If you watch up close, he sees things maybe you'd like him not to see, be more focused and all that. He's got some mobility. He had played at Cal prior to transferring to Indiana, so the Bay Area people are quite, knowledgeable of him. I don't think, though, in my mind, he merits that high of a pick. There are 3 or 4 other players, Grant, coming out in next April's draft who have higher grades than Mendoza does.
Okay.
So if you're going on best player available, he's not that guy.
Okay. Let me ask you about Brandon Aiyuk, because since the last time we talked, there's been some updates. The Niners kind of buried this. They did bury it on a Saturday afternoon. They placed Brandon Aiyuk on the reserve left squad list. I've never heard of the reserve left squad list. Does this sound like the end? Like they're going to cut him at the end of the season and he'll be on another team and that'll be that? Or do you think the Niners drag this out, keep him on the list, try to bring money back, refuse to cut him, try to trade him, make his life a living hell? What do you think?
The thing is, the more the Niners allow this to drag on, the worse it is for the organization, because it becomes a distraction. Players are asked organizational people are asked what they think. No one ever asks Aiyuk what he thinks, because you never get anybody, to talk with the guy. I think they just need to cut and move on and say, it's over, a bad situation, let's sever it and go separate ways, and let us focus on what we need to do to maintain or to improve the quality of our squad, physically, mentally, emotionally, from that perspective, and say it's over, move on, build a bridge and get over it.
Do you think they need him? Do you think they've handled this correctly?
I would say both parties have not handled it correct. Not to affix blame specific individual, I'll say neither group handled it well. They needed marriage counseling and they didn't get it done. So therefore they had the divorce.
I've never seen two parties get married and divorced in football so quickly. I mean, you called it beforehand when the Niners were thinking about proposing. You were like, I really don't think this is going to work out. They did it anyway. And it seemed like on the honeymoon, they were like, this was the worst decision I've ever made. I mean,
they had buyer's remorse in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat before he injured his knee. And I guess, I don't know. They can act like he didn't want to be a part of the team. I just think they didn't want to pay him. I think they felt we gave him way too much money. He's not worth it. He's not going to be that good anymore. Let's let him void this contract and move on. And I wonder if they're ever going to spend big money on a wide receiver again. I think they have trauma, post-traumatic stress.
Well, they should examine, what motivated them to make that decision and say, okay, we've got to rethink things and take time and not react impulsively. The bottom line, unfortunately, from the get-go, as I had discussed with you multiple times, he was not a good fit for that offense because they never utilized him in the same kind of skill set that you would have. I go back to the Rams years ago with the greatest show on turf with Kurt Warner, and they had Holt and they had Eller. They had some great receivers, and he was of that mold and that ilk. And the passing game in San Francisco is, light years away from what they were doing in St. Louis.
Let me ask you this: now that Aiyuk is and they're most likely going to release him and create a bunch of cap space, should they use that cap space to re-sign Jawan Jennings?
To be honest, I wouldn't. I mean, you like his aggressiveness, you like the way he run blocks, but from a skill set, an age as well as skill set, speed, and all that, he may make the tough catches, but he doesn't add any vertical concept to their offense. He doesn't provide them with a quick six mentality. His, as they call it now, the explosive plays are there when they hit him on the square end. The route is the explosive play. His run after the catch is more minimal than you would like. And there are a lot of good receivers coming out in the draft. I'm sure there'll be some decent ones in the free agent market as well. But I tell you, now would be the time for them to move on.
What about Pearsall? He hadn't done anything until last week. They made a real concerted effort. They gave him a target on the first play of the game. I don't know. They were probably watching our show. They probably were like, okay, fair enough. You bring up a good point. So they gave him 6 or 7 catches, and then he hobbled off the field. We'll see if he practices today. I mean, what do you think of the future for Pearsall? Can he get a little bit more durable and become what Aiyuk was for the offense?
See, that is the question. From a physical perspective, is he ever going to be healthy to merit the selection in which you took him, and then the money you're going to have to pay him when his contract comes up? He's still on a rookie deal and everything. But I tell you, the durability, this game is a physical, violent collision sport. Okay? Now, here's the other thing. Pearsall has a track background, correct?
Yes.
Track guys notoriously are always having these nagging injuries. They're slow to recover. They warm up differently than a football player warms up.
Yep.
I mean, I've been around track guys. It's a guy named Branch, and we had, Calvin Muhammad, Malcolm Barnwell, Willie Galt, Sam Grady, James Jett, gold medal winners in the Olympics. Those guys have a different warm-up routine than, quote unquote, a typical wide receiver who is a football player. And, he's a track guy first and a football player trying to become a football player.
I see. And
I go back to the receiver the Niners had years ago. Yeah. Remember the guy named Ronaldo Nehemiah?
Mm-hmm.
The hurdler who and Bill gave him a $250,000 signing bonus. And Billy Wilson was the receiver coach then at that time. And I asked Billy one day, I said, well, how many because we turned him down. He wanted $250,000 out, and Al said, we'll see you later. So he went across the bay. The bottom line, I asked Billy, I said, well, how long are you going to work with this guy before you're going to say he can do it or he can't? He said, I give him 3 years. If he can't do it after 3 years, it's over. And it was over. So track guys are tough.
Okay. Well, it seems like wide receiver could be one of the Niners' biggest needs this offseason. See if they spend another first-round pick on that position. Should we look ahead to the Colts? Let's do it. The Niners' defense.
I think there are a few offensive linemen I might put up there a little higher than the wide receiver.
Yeah, well, that's a big need too. And well, we'll see. We'll get to that when we need to. Let's talk Colts now. Monday Night Football. Phillip Rivers, Jonathan Taylor in a dome on turf. This is a different team on turf. We've seen Phillip Rivers. I just watched the game. He looked a lot like the Phillip Rivers I remember. So what do you think is the key for Robert Salah, given what he's got, to slowing down this Colts offense? Can you hear me?
I lost you there. What'd you want?
Okay.
Now I can. So what do you got?
Okay, here. What I'm asking you is Niners defense, Colts offense. What do you think is the key to this matchup?
It's all about the run game for the Colts and the ability of the Niners to hold them down. Jonathan Taylor, the guy's got over 1,400 yards. He's their bell cow. He is their offense. And they've got some good offensive linemen. They got Quentin Nelson, the left guard. He's a Pro Bowl perennial guy. The guy gives you a clinic blocking every week. The Niners got to shut down run. They have to force Phillip Rivers to have to throw the ball. And more than just at their leisure, but by getting them into long yardage situations, by stopping the run, playing a heavy 7 in the box, maybe 8 in the box if they have to, and say, okay, we're begging you, Phillip, pick it up and throw it, okay? See how, warm up the soup bone and see if you can go one-on-one out here, to Alec Pierce. Or they got a great tight end in Ty Warren catching the ball. But the bottom line is, I presume that if the Colts have to throw it more than 20 times, they're not going to win the ball game.
Yeah, and it seems like what they want to do is get Phillip Rivers in like 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. And in that situation, he can hit Tyler Warren on a 7. He can hit any number of yard throws. In addition, they're going to throw a lot of screen passes, which is something the Niners haven't been able to stop the last few weeks.
Well, that I tell you, we talked about this previously, but that is the one thing about Fred Warner that was the best, one of the greatest facets of his game. He had a great nose for diagnosing screens, and he would be waiting there within 2 steps when the screen back got the ball, and bam, Fred was bringing them down. And Winters and those guys, they just don't respond. They don't have that football IQ to get the feel and the sense of the screen concept, and they don't respond as quickly. And Fred would be waiting for the ball to come to the guy, and these guys are yards away.
Well, I'd love to know what you thought of the Niners' run defense against Tennessee. It looked like they couldn't stop Tony Pollard at all, ever. And it seemed like he had a lot of success running around the perimeter. And it seemed like the Niners' defensive ends, Cleveland Farrell, Keon White, kept getting blown off the ball. I think they're hoping to get Sam Okwonu back this week. I think they're hoping to get Tatum Bethune back this week. But, Tony Pollard's he's a good back. Jonathan Taylor's one of the best. And he's just as fast as Pollard, bigger than Pollard. If the Niners can't stop the run, I mean, he runs between the tackles, outside the tackles. If they can't stop the run, they're going to lose. Do you feel like they have the personnel to do this?
Well, they did have a problem earlier in the season when Bosa was out with them being able to set the edge, especially on their defensive right side. Teams went around them like it was a track meet. And, you would think that maybe I loosened my alignment of the defensive end. Maybe he is too tight to the tackle and he needs more time to see it and to react to it. Maybe I should stand him up as opposed to put his hand on the ground in a 3 or 4 point stance. Remember years ago, I think when the Rams played a couple of teams who were using the jet sweep concept a lot, all of a sudden they showed up in the 6-1 defense and they had those outside backers on the edge and they shut down the jet sweep concept right off the bat. But Salah needs to have a defensive alignment that allows his ends to have a better visibility and to have a better feel for what's happening, so they don't. I mean, don't get hooked. How difficult? Simple rule. Getting blocked is not a sin, but staying blocked is the sin. But don't get hooked, because you are the edge, you are the contain, and you can't give up your outside arm and your outside leg. And it's very simple.
Would this be a week that you would go to a 5-man front, or would you stick with the wide 9 against Phillip Rivers?
Well, you know what? I would, if that's a very good thought process, because along the lines I was looking at, there's a couple things I can go to. I can go to the 46 front, the double squeeze, where I go down and cover the nose and the 3 techniques, or play a 4-eye as opposed to a 3 technique, which gives me an 8 in the box right now. I can go to the over wide concept and stack the safety down and make a switch call, and put the outside backer on the edge outside the tight end and stack the safety inside in the C gap. And like they used to do with Ronnie Lott years ago when they played that defensive front. Together, the Niners have they've got a library of film, which I'm sure is broken down in back of Seifert and all that. And they used to play the 8 in the box concept a lot with Ronnie Lott. And they would shut down your run game. And from that alignment, you can play a 3-backer, you can play cover 1, you can dog, so you can run your whole gamut of your defensive system from that look. And single safety high, playing man or playing zone, and still have 8 in the box. And I want to invite and beg Phillip to throw the ball. See, the whole thing is I've got to be able to make him and his coaches and play callers say, okay, we're going to have to pick it up and throw it. And that's what you want them to have to do, pick it up and throw it. Because, he's been on the shelf for, 5 years?
Yeah, what's the point of playing 2 deep safeties against Phillip Rivers? I mean, he's going to check it down. He's dying to check it down. It seems like what you want to do is sort of force him to throw it further down the field.
Well, the other thing, if I play it too high against him, he's going to run the ball because they have an advantage in the box. See, I cannot. And the other thing is, I don't want to play too deep. The receivers, with it, he's got to throw the ball to complete for me to worry about him throwing the football. But in the meantime, I know going into that game, I got to stuff the run. I got to shut it down. And I am not going to play 2 safeties high and 2 corners on the outside, because now all of a sudden I'm light in the box. And, they're going to, that running back, Taylor, he's going to have 25, 30 carries. And he'll be averaging 5.3, 5.5 yards a clip. And I'm going to end up seeing the bottom of his soles of his shoes that say Nike when he's running by me, because you're not going to catch him.
Okay, so the Colts are going to try to beat the Niners with a relentless ground attack and Phillip Rivers sort of keeping the defense honest. What about the Niners offense? They're going against a pretty good Colts defense. The Niners offense is pretty much healthy. Jawan Jennings is healthy. I don't know about Ricky Pearsall. We'll find out. What do you think is the key for Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy this week?
Brock's got to be able to say, okay, I'm at a stage in the season where winning is the ultimate goal, regardless. We don't have any kind of a fudge factor where we can afford to, botch up a ball game. So make sure I make intelligent decisions. If I have to, check it down, go on to the next play, rather than throw a high percentage or low percentage. And I'm not throwing any 50-50 balls to any of my receivers, other than maybe Kittle or McCaffrey. But I've got to be very intelligent and I got to play smart. Okay. Why? I'm not going to go out there and try to be a Monday night TV. I'm not going to try to be the story of the game. Okay. I want the story to be that I was able to, I hate to use the term, but manage the ball game. Okay. You're going to, if you play it smart, you're going to win the game. That's it.
And that's all Phillip Rivers is trying to do, manage the game.
Well, he has to, more so than anything else, even though they're not playing for the same, significance that the Niners are, but he's going to hand off the ball most of the night. What's the weather going to be like in Levi Stadium on Monday night?
Oh, we're going to be in Indianapolis. It's going to be in Indy. I'm coming out. I'm going out to the Midwest.
Oh, that's right. It's a road game. Oh, yeah. You're playing in the dome. Now, that is a tremendous advantage for the Colts. Indoors, run the ball on AstroTurf. No muck area, no winds, no nothing. And so that's actually a field advantage for the Colts.
Yeah, I was looking it up. Jonathan Taylor's averaging like 4.3 yards per carry on grass this year and 6.2 yards per carry on turf. So this guy is freaking Bo Jackson at home. And the Niners, I don't know if they're expected to win this game. They're favored on the road, but their run defense has been really alarming ever since Mykel Williams and Tatum Bethune went down. Mykel Williams isn't coming back. I just don't know that they can really stop Jonathan Taylor in terms of like the runs and the screens. That alone is enough to beat you. Anyway, why don't we check out Pass Reps? This is the Playbook breakdown segment powered by Pass Reps, where we make you smarter about football every week. You can get Pass Reps yourself and actually practice calling plays before Sunday for only $1.99 a month. Just go to passreps.com or click the link below. I'll put it on the screen for you, and then we'll show you how it works. All right. What are we looking at today? What is this play, and who is it designed for?
Well, a couple of weeks ago when we were kind of chewing up Kyle for throwing the ball to Ricky Pearsall and using it, but they ran him on a quick out and threw a couple of quick passes and everything. So this week we said, okay, let's give Ricky a shot for a big play because he's not going to run a slug or a slant and go. And rather than just run a straight 9 route vertically without any kind of a move or stutter or whatever. So I said, okay, we're going to run him on a quick out and up. He ran the quick out a couple of weeks ago. The ball gains a couple extra yards. So, and they like to get out of their hands quickly to him. They got a shot here on the quick out and up. We drew it up on the right formation, so he's on the left side. And go ahead and, you may want to throw him a quick out earlier in the game, then come back later in the game with a quick out and up and see if you can get the corner to bite. And, you get the corner clue in the quarterback's drop, and Brock sets his feet and pumps it. And if the corner drives on it and Ricky wheels it and takes it up the field, now you got a chance for the big play. So instead of just running the straight fly pattern or a go route, which does not have a very, very good percentage with the Niners, the out and up may give you the quick out and up gives you some quick separation to where now you're throwing the ball to a guy who's got more grass between him and the defender and a better chance to make the completion. And I would even do it off of a bump. If they were to walk up and play bump and run, I would do it against the bump and run as well. Rather than make it a straight 9 route, stay with the quick out and up.
My question for you, I guess, is with Ricky Pearsall, do you think he has the play strength to beat the press coverage playing X on this play the way Aiyuk does?
Well, he's not, well, let's put it this way. He's not a physical guy. So he's not going to be able to get into a hand fighting battle with the bump and run corner. He's going to have to beat him with quickness.
Yeah.
And get the outside release and then run the quick out and up and take it up the field.
But I like it because they've been setting this up. They've been setting it up all year. I mean, they've been throwing that quick out to him. It's open. It's a throw that Brock Purdy can make as opposed to like a straight 9, route like Cliff Branch would run.
He'll know that he's going to be open more quickly rather than throw the 9 route and hope that he does get the ball. And if he doesn't like it on that side, you still get your quick game concept over the Kittle and whomever's playing the flanker on the slant route with Kittle running the short out, the arrow route, the shoot, and then you can still get the ball up the field with the catch after by Kittle. If I hit him on, the quick out himself on his side, then he'll catch and run. He will get you some yards after the catch.
You just saw the breakdown. Now go test your own football IQ. Pass Reps updates weekly. $1.99 a month. The link's below. Don't just watch the game. Call it at passreps.com. Okay, Tom, why don't we make some predictions? This game seems like it could go either way. the Colts are a bit of a wild card here with Phillip Rivers, and they're at home. Who do you think's going to win? Give me a score prediction.
Oh, I see the Niners 27-17.
27-17 Niners. Why do you think it's going to go down that way?
Well, first of all, I think with the Colts run game, they're going to run it consistently enough where they're going to get their points, they're going to get their yards. Okay. And then, but on the other hand, I think Kyle, knowing the significance of the game and the players realizing that, you're going to see some more aggressive play calling from the run game. You're going to see a little bit more aggressiveness in the blocking. Remember several weeks ago when the Niners needed to win badly, Kyle changed his whole run system and scenario and went more between the tackles, and they really had great success. And I don't know, you might, if your guy DeForest Buckner is going to play or not. He's still on IR, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
And if he's not in the middle, then, that gives the Niners a better shot.
That checks out. I mean, 17 points from Phillip Rivers. It's not going to be a high-flying offense, and the Niners can give up yards, but as long as they limit the Colts to field goals, which is what the Seahawks did, I mean, they're not going to score that many points. 17, 18, 16. All right.
I think you're faded on me.
Oh, okay. So we got the Niners winning by 10 points in Indianapolis against Phillip Rivers. We think their defense is going to take care of business. They're going to give up some rushing yards, but they're going to limit the Colts to just a couple of touchdowns and a field goal. And Brock Purdy and the offense will look really good. George Kittle will have a good game. Christian McCaffrey will have a good game. That's what we're thinking. Hey, well, we made it this far without Tom's internet crapping out. Can you hear me, Tom? Is he frozen? Does he not like what I have to say? He's frozen. Well, we made it like through the whole show. I wanted to do some prize picks. And the thing about Tom that you guys might not know, some of you that have been watching the show may know, is that he's the best. Of all my guests doing prize picks, Tom is by far the best. He gets a lot. Tom, you back? Hey, Tom, can you hear me? Can you hear me? There you are. Are you ready to do some prize picks for tonight, Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, I can hear
you. Okay.
Matthew Stafford, definitely.
You're the prize picks master. So let's do this right for the people who are interested in making some plays tonight. Matthew Stafford, 230.5 passing yards against the Seahawks, more or less, more or fewer. 230.
I am going to say more.
Okay. How about Sam Darnold? More. How about Sam Darnold? 223.5 more or fewer against the Rams.
I'll say fewer.
Ooh. Okay. Kyren Williams, 55.5 rushing yards.
I'll say more.
Okay. All right. How about Jackson Smith and Jigba, 89.5 receiving yards?
Oh. You know what? I'm going to say fewer. I think the Rams are going to make Sam Darnold a little bit uncomfortable in the pocket, and you're going to get some sacks and some pressures, and he is not going to respond well to the pocket pressure.
Interesting. Okay. So you think the Rams are going to win this game?
Yeah. Obviously, from the Niners' perspective, I would like Seattle to win, because then it comes down to the Niners and Seattle, the last game of the year, for the Niners to be the number one pick. But I don't know if Darnold can measure up to it. Remember last year when he was at Minnesota, he had a key ball game in the playoffs, and it was a nightmare of a game.
It's true. Well, he gets a chance to redeem himself. Last one.
The heat a little bit hot for him. What do you got?
Okay. Puka Nacua, 91.5. Last one. Receiving yards.
I'll say more.
Okay. All right. Those are the picks.
Because you don't have Dante Adams.
Yeah, they're going to have to throw to him. It's going to be him and Colby Parkinson, who looks pretty good all of a sudden.
Exactly.
We're gonna flex it, submit it, download PrizePicks, use promo code Cohn, COHN, play $5, get 50 instantly in lineups when you use that promo code. That 3 tight end formation has been so clutch for the Rams this season. You think the Niners would try something like that? Just my word.
Oh, we've been talking about that for weeks. And it's fallen on deaf ears.
It's now, to our credit and to Kyle's credit, he seemed to listen to us when we said, hey, you might want to make George Kittle your number 1 option in the passing game. Last week, they did. It seems like they're a tough team to beat when George Kittle gets 10 targets. And yet there's weeks where he gets 4. Strange.
Yeah, the thing about George, he's a great catcher, and then he has run after catch, and he runs aggressively, and he lifts up the whole offense. See, the one thing about George that excites me, he's got that, joy of playing kind of going on, and he finds a way to demonstrate to his teammates the excitement, and it carries over to the players. So he will pick them up emotionally, whereas McCaffrey's not the emotional guy like Kittle is. Kittle's like one of those guys in the Wrestling Federation. He's out there demonstrating. He's very aggressive. He emotes well. That helps the whole offense. When George is on and you feed him the ball and he's playing well and he's spinning it, he's going to lift up the whole team.
Yeah, and they need that. Kendrick Bourne has a little bit of that, but of course they don't let him play football. He had a catch.
The poor guy's on the shelf. Oh my goodness! Hey, Tom, we've been talking about where has Kevin Bourne gone for the last 2 weeks.
Well, Kyle's trying to juggle all these players with their incentives. I mean, Juwan has to get to 60 catches and 600 yards to hit his incentives. Kendrick Bourne has to get to 500 yards to hit his incentives. When you were a play caller, I mean, did you have stuff like this that you were thinking about? Like, this guy's going to hate me if I don't give him 5 catches because he's this close. And if he's on the team, I got to keep him happy. Or does that come into play?
They knew better than to broach me about that subject. There was no, hey, get me the ball kind of concept. No, we're calling the game. Some of the guys would get on the phone once in a while and say, hey, you got to get me open. I said, no, you got to get yourself open. I said, it's not a matter of me getting you open. You have to get open. Okay. And I just flat out told them, I said, but when you have the great players, the Hall of Fame guys, they know what they need to do. They know how to do it, and they step up to the plate, and they can make it happen. They don't need you to create. You just have to make sure your quarterback knows where they are and get them the ball. It's like, hey, be that blackjack dealer. My old thing, I used to kid Berline when he was a rookie. I say, Steve, you are a dealer. Your job is to give every one of the players, the Bows, the Marcuses, the Todds, the Loftons, and all those guys, give them all 21, okay? Get them all blackjack. Let them make plays for you. The 5 of them are a heck of a lot better than you by yourself. Utilize your players, get them the ball, let them make the plays for you, and they'll make you a pretty good quarterback. And Brock Purdy, if he does that, can let those guys be a pretty good producers for him. He can't win the.
I like that. That's the plan for him. Let's get a couple of super chats. I'm Poor says, should the Niners sign Matthew Judon?
No, I'm not in favor of that at all. There are so many great edge rushers in college right now coming out in this draft. It is so heavy with edge rushers. You can find talent in the 3rd round as edge rushers. There's probably 15 to 18 edge rushers. 6 or 7 are first-round picks. Another 3 or 4 are second-round picks. I can find fresh legs, a young guy, explosive, and plus get him on a rookie deal. That's the one position which a guy can come off the street and be an impact player, an edge rusher.
That's right.
I'm not signing has-beens.
I'm Poor says, isn't it Salah's fault they can't cover screens?
You can coach it up. You can design things defensively. The one thing they could do, if Salah was thinking a screen might be involved in the play, he can call a zone defense, for example, and then lock his linebacker on the back. So I can have everyone playing zone and then one guy tag to lock the running back man to man. So it's like a box and one concept. Instead of a wide receiver or a tight end, if I think a screen is imminent and it's a possibility, I'll lock a linebacker on the running back man to man. So now when he releases, bam, you're closing on him right now before the ball even gets out of the quarterback's hand.
We got YM Glove Blue. YM Love Blue says, I'm nervous about Brock on Mondays, brother. Let me get the stat for you. Brock on Mondays, he's 3-3. His quarterback, he has 5 touchdowns, 11 picks, and his quarterback rating is 75. Is that, do you ever look at stuff like that as a coach? Like, man, the lights are too bright, or is that just like an anomaly? Six games.
Well, no, that's why my number one concern for him was to play a smart game, manage the game. Don't turn the game by yourself. Do not make throws over the middle when you think that the receiver's there, but you got a linebacker or a safety between, the receiver and you made the throw like he's done in the past. Don't make the throw. Check it down. If I don't have a clear shot, if I have any hesitation at all that I don't have a window into which I can make the throw, don't make it. Don't
Black
be a hero.
Says, Grant, Tom is a genius. This is one of the very best shows of the week. I agree. But can we please get Tom a legitimate microphone? We want to hear his insights, but the audio quality leaves a lot to be desired. We love Tom. Okay, yes. Tom's out of town, but when he gets back home, he'll have a microphone waiting in his mailbox as a Christmas present for all the great work he's done this year, Tom. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas. You got a microphone coming your way, courtey of the Black Hercules.
I appreciate the comment. I enjoy. I'm just having fun, Grant, and you're the perfect host, and you got a great background, and you're the Niners quality control guy. You got all the answers. We just need to have them listen more.
I mean,
maybe Kyle's wife can listen to the show, and she can take some notes and give Kyle a little bit of a crib sheet and say, okay, here's a couple of things that you might want to think about for Monday night.
I mean, people keep saying, how are the Niners 10-4 with all these injuries? Well, you're looking at the reason right here. Tom Walsh, Grant Cohn, unofficial quality control for the 49ers. Tom, great stuff as always. Thank you.
Well, enjoy when are you headed for Indianapolis?
Sunday, first thing, quick in and out, 48 hours, getting home for Christmas, hopefully. Hopefully I don't get stuck in the Midwest for Christmas.
Well, you go to St. Elmo's, the steakhouse down there, and treat yourself to a decent meal at St. Elmo's.
Yeah, I'll go, and I'll get the horseradish on the cocktail's good. It is good.
Yes, you'll like it. That'll be a good show for you to have to do a little special on St. Elmo's.
St. Elmo's in downtown Indianapolis. I know you guys are jealous. I'll be there. I'll bring you guys. You can live vicariously through me. Tom, thanks so much. See you guys.